I'm actually probably going to do this as an actual vlog for my YouTube channel. I'm starting to see more and more DJs doing arenas, doing sports events, things like that. So we'll give away a few secrets today, and you guys can take it and run with it. And hopefully, you know, high tides raise all ships, iron sharpens iron, all that good stuff. But shout out, appreciate the questions and how we get down. Before I get started, I'm going to show you the gear, what we'll do, and just as an overview. For anybody else watching, this is for DJs who are going to be involved in athletics, whether it's on a professional level, collegiate level, even high school, any kind of sports event. From my background, I've been doing sports events probably the entirety of my career, honestly. I was involved in local swim meets. So we do a city meet here in Chattanooga. So I've been doing that for 10, 12 years now. So that parlayed me into other athletic events. And now I'm the in-game entertainment for UTC basketball and UTC football. In addition to that, been able to do some games for App State basketball, App State volleyball. So have a good time out there in Boone. Shout out to you guys. So there's plenty to go into this kind of smorgasbord of how we do this event. Now, when you talk about DJing these things, when you talk about entertaining at these things, at the beginning, and I'll go over the schedule and all that stuff, at the beginning of the event, you have some time to do some mixing, to do what makes your DJ brand you, right? But everybody knows that you are the side dish to the main course, which is the actual athletic event itself. So, with that in mind, we'll go into some different techniques, some different things that you can use, some things that keep the audience engaged. At the end of the day, that's your job. If your team is terrible, it doesn't matter. They come and see the DJ, they come for the good time, the giveaways, the halftime entertainment, stuff like that. If your team is good, it just adds to that. It adds value to the product, which is the athletic event itself. So getting into it, that's kind of basically the overview of what we're talking about. As we move forward, I'll talk about scripts, I'll talk about elements and what we do. So without any further delay, let's move these cameras around so I can show you what I'm working with, show you what I'm dealing with. It's not entirely different from what you would normally use anyway. There's a few different elements that you're going to need, some things that make me do my job better. So first of all, Captain Morgan, step number one. I'm using a Mackie Mix 8. On channel 1, I put my mic, because I'll have some of my own announcements to make, some different giveaways, some different promotions, different prizes, things like that. So for my purposes, I'll need a mic. So my mic is channel 1. My virtual DJ sound is coming out of channel 2. So channel 2 is for that sound. For my channel 3 is that Ableton system that I told you about. Those are my one-hitters. Those are my one-offs. Just the different things that I can do really quickly during a timeout, during a dead ball, different things like that, just to keep people engaged. And I'll show you what those sound like in just a second. And here's my wireless system. So I've got a control room out right here. And that's what I'm sending to the house. My signal coming to my main out is going to be a little bit hotter than what the house likes. So I'll go ahead and punch it up and let it do its thing on this wireless. So this wireless system is sending it to the floor. This wireless system is a little bit more controlled with the control room out, and I can send that to the main mix that's up at the board for the main house. So when you look at it, try to think of it like a club, but it's a little bit backwards. Typically, you want your control in a club, you want that coming back at you. In this case, we actually send that to the house. That's our main house sound, so it gives us a little bit more control. And then we can put the big boy speakers down on the floor and let them do their thing. So that's how my board is set up. My controller of choice is the SB2. Forgive the wear and tear. It's been with me for a little while. So typical setup right there. So you're going to understand what's going on with that. You guys can do your own thing. Now, the last system that I have, the Ableton system, I'm using a Launchpad Pro. I think it's the MK2 model. So that MK2 model has all the sound effects that I use during a game to keep people engaged. And let's go into what that sounds like right now. I play 90 minutes ahead of my men's games and 60 minutes ahead of my women's games. So it's pretty much me doing me. So whatever mix I feel like is going to happen, whatever I need to make it work, is what I do. We also have that first half of that time frame for the players to warm up. So I'm playing specific songs that they get warmed up to. So whatever their mix is, I ask them before the season, hey, what do you guys want to get down to? We'll rock it out and, put a mix together for them so they can get loose. And then as fans start coming in, obviously the audience percentage shifts. So we go from players to actual fans, and, those playlists come into play. So in order to do this properly, I'm going to go a little bit split screen here and show you what we're dealing with. Okay, before we get into the music and the psychology of everything, let's talk about the structure of it. So you saw the board, saw my controller, saw the Ableton launch pad, right? The cool thing about this one, and I don't know if Virtual can do this, if it's just Virtual that can do this, or maybe Serato can. I've heard some issues about Serato and what happens with sound cards and updates and yada yada yada, stuff like that. So I don't know if they're going to have an issue with this or not. The sound card runs out of my controller, so the Thedjscubasteve uses that sound card for the control of my virtual DJ interface. Now, once you plug in, you activate the Ableton program, and then you plug in the controller, the launch pad, it's going to want to switch over. So what we do with that, we actually isolate the sound card inside the computer. So the computer sound card is actually running the Ableton sound. So that way we can get both sound cards working at the same time. So like I said, remember, back channel 2 is my virtual DJ sound, channel 3 is my Ableton sound, my one hits. So keep in mind that's what you're going to have to do. If you've got enough, make sure your laptop has enough USB ports. Most Macs don't, so consider that, how to get around that situation. So like I said, yeah, so I'm using my headphone jack for the Ableton sound, and then obviously the sound card from the SP2 to run the audio that's coming out of my board. So getting into the sound, getting into what songs do you play? You want to play songs that keep the party going. You want that happening, and you're going to be given guidelines from your specific team. Whatever they want to do, obviously that's your audience. Obviously you got to keep the fans happy too. So if they want something to warm up to, do that. If it's time to party, so you're back and forth on that. So while you're DJing, do the DJ thing, get them ready to go, get them hyped up, get the fans ready, get them involved. Now, during gameplay, there's specific times where you're allowed to play. If the ball is in play, you obviously cannot play. But when there is a whistle, when there is a dead ball, you need to be ready to go with something, anything. I mean, what's the point of you being there if we're going to have dead air, right? So that's where we switch over to Ableton. So when it comes to the Ableton system, you can lay it out two different ways. Now, I don't make beats, I don't make songs, I'm not a producer, I'm a DJ. So what I need Ableton for, what I need this Launchpad for, is just those quick one hits. So timeouts happen, and either the band is going to play or you're going to play. Same rules apply. You're still a DJ, do the DJ thing. But when it's a dead ball, when it's just an out of bounds or a quick foul, or the referees are going to talk about something or whatever, at UTC when we get an and one, so if you don't know what an and one is, look it up, but that extra shot, so the ball goes in, you start playing music instantly because you're going to hear that whistle. Once that whistle goes, boom, let's be live, let's have something going. We Will Rock You is classic, everybody loves it, gets the people going, so right. So you're going to use those. Now those are examples of two full songs I have on the Ableton interface. So those are what you're going to want to use in those moments. Now, maybe you don't have enough time for that. Maybe it just goes out of bounds and you want to be funny and give them a little Homer Simpson. If you have a sounder for your name, do that. If somebody is playing hard down low, right? I think this one goes... So yeah, you got that. Or Lil Wayne, you can do something good. Obviously you have full songs, Turn Down for What, Party Up, all that kind of good stuff. Quick little fun stuff, a little Law and Order. If the referees are having a hard time making a decision, that's always fun. So do that. And you can color code your device however you like. These pink ones right here in the middle I typically reserve for just girls games. So there's that. Poison, Baller, you got Holla Back Girl, stuff. And that's how long that is. So if you only have a couple of seconds, and a lot of times you will, if you get the chance to play a volleyball game, you're going to have a lot of those because the ball side outs are a lot. You'll play a lot more songs during a volleyball game than you will a basketball game, just because of the turnover and the points and the way they're scored, the way the game is played. What I like to do a lot, if we get a travel call on the other team, Kevin Hart. She wasn't ready. So yeah, that's what you want to have. You want to have that engagement that keeps people guessing, that keeps people involved, that keeps people engaged. If you can make them laugh, you got them. If you can make them jump up and down, obviously jump around is going to work, right? So be creative about what you're doing with your sound effects. And you want to change them from time to time. Now, some of those, I don't think we're ever going to get rid of Kevin Hart at this point. We've even got the... So if something good happens during the game and I drop that one, then everybody's engaged and they're involved because they're all essentially thinking that. You want to, just like in conversation, if everybody's thinking it and somebody says it, that guy's the funniest guy in the room, right? Well, be the funniest guy in the room. If everybody's thinking something funny just happened and you have a sound effect that mirrors that, they're locked in. And that's what you want. You want people coming back for that entertainment value. It's not just about the baseball. It's not just about the basketball game. Well, it may be baseball. Baseball's boring. The more DJs they could probably get involved in baseball, the better off baseball would be, probably, in my humble opinion. But whatever the sport is, you want to keep people engaged. You want to make sure that they're having a good time and they're getting more out of it than just the game. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Be creative with it. Is probably the best advice that I can give you. There's stuff that I've thought of over the years right here. There's a few more that I need to add that I think would work in certain scenarios. But you may think of something right now. You may know of something right now. It may be your own voice recording something that you use as a sound bite later. But yeah, it's just about that creativity and getting people to engage. Quick little overview about everything we just talked about. Ableton for the one-shots, and that's coming out of my headphone jack on my laptop. So if you have a different sound card that you want to use, by all means use it. When you're not using Ableton, you'll switch back to your virtual DJ screen, just like that, and then it's time for whatever songs are approved for that content. So that's what you're going to want to do. And obviously that sound is going to come out of your controller, whatever that may be. All of that sound is going into your board, which is now transmitting wirelessly to both floor speakers and house speakers. So that's kind of basically it. It seems to me, working both for App State and for UTC, and obviously any other college that's going to call, the format is very similar. All these techniques and this philosophy should really apply across the board no matter what level you're playing. Obviously the pro game, they get to play music while the ball is in play. College doesn't let you do that. But it doesn't matter what college you go to because the NCAA is the umbrella over all those organizations. So the rules are going to be the same. And you can engage the same way at different schools. So don't let any one school lock you in. You can go get some other school, some other work somewhere else and keep it rolling. But like I said, yeah, questions, comments, cuss words, hit me up. I'm Thedjscubasteve. I'm out.